In 2018, the first LACNet's Above and Beyond Award was awarded to NET patient Beth DeBlase. After her initial diagnosis and recovery from extensive surgery, Beth made it her mission to raise awareness and help others. She organized a whole fundraising campaign on her own and sold cute zebra t-shirts and tank tops, donating all the proceeds to LACNets. Most recently, she responded to the pandemic by making zebra masks as another fundraising effort benefiting LACNets. Beth serves as a NetConnect mentor, connecting with newly diagnosed patients. Along with fellow Net patient and NetConnect mentor Brent Curry, she's made hilarious how to join Zoom for LACNet's virtual meetings and how to watch a live LACNet's webinar videos that are really fun to watch. If you need a good laugh, I recommend checking out those videos on our YouTube channel. We've invited Beth to share her story today. It's a story that we hope will inspire and encourage you. Let's now hear Beth's story of strength and resilience.
Good afternoon, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Beth Wilbanks DeBlase, and I'm very grateful to be here today to share my story with you. I know that during this time of year, the holiday season can be challenging for many of us. It brings up a lot of emotions that we are all feeling, some challenging and some happy. So when I was thinking of how I wanted to share with you today, I thought of some words of wisdom from a dear friend named Giovanna and Beth. Giovanna had said, "Our stories communicate a lot of the emotion that each of us as patients are going through. That each one of us is contributing to the experience that we are all having, and that each of our stories make a difference." In honor of my friend and that beautiful moment, I have titled my story today, A Shared Experience. I often think of one of my favorite quotes by Maya Angelou. I have many favorite quotes because she's amazing, but this one I want to share today. We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has to go through to achieve that beauty. When we experience life-changing events, it happens instantly. But the moments that we choose to create after can last us a lifetime. The reason why that quote resonates so deeply with me is because I think as patients, when we're asked about our story or how we're feeling or what we're going through, our society has learned to politely bow out of difficult conversations, and they respond with, "You look amazing, you don't look like you have cancer, you're doing so well, you're so strong." Yet we hear those things often, and sometimes we need those things, we need to hear them, but we often don't share why or what made us strong, or no one ever asks us what made us strong. But it is in our struggles that we find our strength, a place where we can gain a profound and necessary awareness. I am the youngest of 5 siblings. I have 2 older sisters and 1 brother, and 1 identical twin, just 1 twin. Any more of me and Marcy and it would be mass hysteria. But when I was 12 years old, I lost my brother Roy Brock to the AIDS epidemic in 1987. During his diagnosis to his death, he would develop Kaposi sarcoma cancer, which is also often associated with HIV. But I, like my family, were completely unprepared for the loss of my brother. And not only his loss and death, but the stigma and fear that accompanied it in the climate of those times. So my way of coping was to stay small, to stay hidden, to not talk about my brother. And I stayed there for a long time. From my awareness, my choices came from a place of fear. And what I did was I diminished him. I had known people for years and years, professionally, personally, and some of them never even knew I had had a brother. Years later, my older sister Charlene would lose a 2.5-year battle to thymic carcinoma cancer, another rare and non-curable disease. 6 weeks after her funeral, I would receive a phone call from a doctor at City of Hope giving me the results of a biopsy. He informed me that I had stage 4 neuroendocrine cancer. And in that instant, my life changed again. But yet, all I could think of in that moment were not questions of what to ask him, what I should do, where I should go. All I could think about in that moment was, how was I going to tell my parents? How was I going to tell them, after they had just buried their second child, that I had been diagnosed with a rare and non-curable disease? How was I going to tell my children? As I stood in my parents' kitchen, trying to work up the nerve to tell them, the words came out, and it seemed like the silence would last forever until my father slowly approached me. My mother followed. He wrapped me in his arms and told me, "Don't worry, babe. We're going to take care of this. We're going to take care of you." And I believed him. 2 weeks later, I was at City of Hope having surgery. I told would be very invasive due to the heavy tumor burden in my liver. I would lose almost half of my liver, my gallbladder, small intestines, mesentrinsic lymph nodes, and pelvic lymph nodes as well. I think I was in surgery for about 10 hours and spent 2 days in the ICU, which is the best nap ever because you're unconscious, and then 10 days at City of Hope recovering. And my parents were there the entire time. In the fall of that same year, during my recovery, my father suffered a heart attack and was immediately put on for surgery. My twin sister and I went to pre-op to see if we could see him before he went into surgery, and because we're the babies, and Marcy told Dad that if anything happened to him, she was going to have to hurt me. My dad immediately burst out laughing and then immediately burst into reprimanding, not to make him laugh. That was my dad. A week after his surgery, I would lose him unexpectedly to complications. In that instant, there are no words for where I was in that moment. But I can tell you now what I have chosen to do with the moments since. I decided, after being a licensed esthetician with a career spanning over 20 years, to go back to school and gain a certification specializing in aesthetic oncology so that I could treat patients at hospitals for skin therapy So I designed and developed a program at City of Hope, where I was a patient, to do aesthetic therapies on fellow cancer patients. And I realized during that time that the healing connection that I made with these people was such a gift to me. It was healing in ways that I never knew I could heal and grow. I also decided to become more engaged in advocacy and patient support and patient education. And I decided to design a t-shirt and sweatshirt with the zebra logo to raise awareness for rare diseases, knowing that my brother and my sister and myself had all been diagnosed with rare diseases. It was a wonderful time, and it brought me lots of joy. And I'm very grateful for Giovanna and her beautiful presence and light that brought even more joy to my life. After realizing these things, and this last year, with everything we've been going through as patients and as a culture and society, I feel a profound connection to all of you. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for how much work and effort Lindsay and Lisa have put into continuing Geo's vision. I see it every day. I see it grow. I see it in you. I see it in your stories. Pain and tragedies are just springboards for us to create a profound awareness within ourselves. And through that awareness, we can create beautiful things. I think of us as pioneers. I like that word, so I decided to look it up. And I realized when I looked up the meaning is that it originated from Middle French, and that it refers to a foot soldier who digs trenches during time of war. And then I knew that we were all pioneers, and that we are all zebras, and that we are stronger together in our connections, in our lives, so that we can thrive and help others to do the same. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Beth, for sharing your beautiful story. We are moved and inspired by you. Today's topic is all about stories. Our founder, Giovanna Joyce Mbesi, had a powerful story.